psychedelics treat depression? Maybe. You might not even have to take a trip. Approximately 72,000 patients in the U.S. were given Auvelity last year. Haven't heard of it? That's because it's a drug. This goes back to Robitussin, which has been a staple of American pharmacy since the 1940s. Since the 60s, people have swigged bottles of this cough medicine recreationally because at a high enough dose, its active ingredient, dextromethorphan, can cause hallucinations, known as robotripping, actually related to PCP and ketamine. Now, that ingredient, common to many cough medications, has been used as an antidepressant of all things. In recent years, studies have found that conventional antidepressants are only marginally more effective than biologically inactive placebo. Meanwhile, big pharmaceutical companies conduct very little research into mental health drugs. Researchers and sufferers have instead placed their hopes in psychedelic drugs usually considered hallucinatory, such as psilocybin or LSD. Yet the evidence of their effectiveness as an antidepressant comes from small trials. Against this backdrop, a legitimate drug company has quietly moved dextromethorphan beyond robotripping into a legally approved depression treatment with an important twist. Axsome Therapeutics markets a drug called Auvelity, which combines dextromethorphan with a drug that negates the hallucinations. So, people need to have therapeutic outcomes, says Robin Carhart Harris, a professor of neurology and psychiatry at the University of California, San Francisco. He prefers to use the word trip rather than hallucination to describe the experience that follows taking psychedelics. Researchers in several labs have shown the intensity of the trip when taking these drugs is probably the strongest predictor of improved symptoms in conditions such as depression. If the FDA approval process has worked for Auvelity, it may refute Carhart Harris's assertion. Man, I'm high today, guys. Tripping might benefit some patients, but it could be too risky for people whose mental health is precarious or simply too expensive or inconvenient for most people. Was the need for tripping over? Auvelity has tested that question by accident. Its conception was unrelated to robotripping. The company decided to act on clues from animal tests that dextromethorphan might work as an antidepressant. Normally, the body metabolizes dextromethorphan too quickly into a psychedelic drug. They added bupropion, a known antidepressant, to slow the metabolism of the DXM. They did this, they found non-psychedelic antidepressive effects. So this highlights what's happening in a lot of areas of psychedelic medicine, which is trying to unpair the psychedelic effects with the brain protective and neurogenetic, neurogenesis and neuroplastic effects of these drugs, meaning like neurogenesis is growing new axons and neurons. Neuroplasticity is the ability for new networks to form. And while on one side, I totally support this and the need for these positive changes in people whose psychology is not strong enough or for whatever trauma or other reasons they can't take the trip. At the same time, I think that this is we need to approach this road with caution because it highlights the issue of turning these amazing teaching substances into something that's just used to mediate corporate slavery as well as, continued bone-crushing forward assault of the hegemonic military-industrial complex of the United States. And I think instead of constantly thanking our soldiers and getting them drugs to heal their PTSD from the horrible shit they were subjected to, we should instead apologize to them and stop sending them to murder people to steal their resources. And secondarily, we should look at all of these drugs and their messages as an opportunity to reflect on and gain new perspectives on how we're navigating the world instead of to just round the sharp corners again of corporate and institutional slavery that the majority of human beings are forced to undergo on this planet. We're interested to hear what you guys have to say. Germain taking over the High at 9 News on a Friday. Go for it, guys.
Well, okay, fine. I'll go for it. So I don't think that trip and hallucinogen are synonymous with each other. There's plenty of people who have tripped without seeing things. And then I just keep thinking they're like trying to take all the fun out of it. It's like that saccharin, like it's sweet, but it's not sugar. It don't taste good. So I don't understand. I mean, I guess there's a percentage of the population that wants therapeutic effects without the journey, but I'm not sure that that's really where we need to focus this research. It seems like they're just trying to neuter the positive opportunities that could come from trying things the way nature intended them, or at least designed them or made them. I'd rather see those resources allocated towards robust clinical trials of existing plant medicine versus saying, oh, we took the trip out of the tripper, we took the hallucinogen out of the hallucinogens, and now because we've done that, we've patented it and we've made it more palatable for everybody. And it just feels like it's the effects of a big pharma way of thinking as they're approaching plant medicine. But that's just my 1.5 cents.
Well, I'm going to add one thing and then I got to jump, but I did mushrooms in Jamaica one time, and it was a gummy that this woman in Jamaica made where she said she removed the part of the mushroom tonic that makes you nauseous. And it was really the most pleasant mushroom trip I've ever had. I didn't get nauseous. It was so smiley and fun. And so while I understand you want to do clinical trials with the plant medicine the way it grows naturally, I will tell you that was the best psychedelic experience I had ever had, because that one unpleasant element was removed. So I do think that there's ways to improve upon nature, that being my case in point. But I've got a dip. I've got a call that I'm 3 minutes late for.
Have a great day, Jamie.